So I recently short sold a stock. You ever do that before?
Uh, I did it years ago, but I haven't done it in a
Yeah.
long time.
So I never really knew what it was. So I watched a couple videos online.
Yeah, right.
So it's the weirdest thing. So you are selling the stock before you actually own it. And so I looked it up. I got my brokerage account and they have health videos and things like that. And so they say, yeah, so when you short sell something, you sell it, but then we find someone who has the stock in reserve, like some big mutual fund or investment firm or whatever it may be, and they lend it to you. So they're lending you a stock that you can then hope goes down in value, and then you buy it. So you sell it at, so in this particular example, I sold something, and it was at like $110. Just one stock. Obviously, I'm just dipping my toes in the water,
Big
trying
money.
to figure this
Yeah,
out.
big money. Sure.
Not diving all in with this stuff. So, but I was curious to see how it worked.
Yeah.
And so I bought it, or I sold it. Sold it at 110, and then I don't know who it was. Some brokerage firm or investment firm lent me this one share of stock. And then I just sat on it because actually I was hoping it was going to go down, but it didn't go down right away. It actually went up, and then thinking about.
How did you figure out what stock to short sell?
I can't remember what it was. I think I was watching something online, and they were saying, "Well, this company is
TikTok.
They're gonna."
TikTok.
It wasn't on TikTok, but once it becomes an American company, maybe I'll watch that. So
yeah.
and it wasn't in a dream or anything. So, anyways, somehow I picked this company. And I think I saw it on like YouTube or something like that,
right?
Or someone, or maybe Fox Business or something. But anyways, I thought, you know what? Let's roll the dice on this one. And so I sold it, and then sat around for like 3 weeks actually. And I don't know if it maxed out, but it had actually gone down, and I kind of forgot about it. And then all of a sudden I got a notice from the brokerage saying, okay, you bought your stock back. And so I made $5. They bought it back at 105.
Wow.
And so anyways.
Wow. Nice job.
But it's interesting.
Yeah.
It's like, you hear about like, if you remember like the GameStop, like active investor people who caused all that chaos with those hedge fund people. They were all betting that GameStop was going to go down. So all these active investors went and bought it and ran it up, and the hedge fund guys lost.
They've tried that on a couple stocks. I even noticed lately, and I can't remember the stock that I saw that they were saying was being hit, like maybe Wolf Speed or something like that, where, and don't directly quote me on that, but where they jump on and they go, oh, we're going to bid this up, and then all of a sudden, I don't know how they're really. The bad thing about it is, didn't they shut that down? They were like, they shut it down. No one could sell it, so they all kind of got screwed with it.
Right. I think they did, and
which is really illegal in itself.
I mean, for a lot of these people out there, I'm guessing that these are a lot of college students, maybe even you have to be 18 to have a brokerage account, but they're probably young folks.
Right.
And so it's not like they're buying, $50,000, $100,000 at a pop. So, these are probably kids, they're probably buying $100 worth or whatever. So you need a lot of people. You need some serious critical mass.
Yeah.
In order
to get
really
it to move, right?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, it's funny if we could sway the markets by that, just all of us gaining up and going, okay. But then they're in the know. So it's like, you'd never get anything done because they'd be like, oh, they're gonna do this to this stock, right?
And then so think about it like this. Okay, so you and I are buying stocks, and we're controlling this market. We're going to do a run up. How long is it? So you buy it at $100.
Right.
How long? And then we're buying it, we're running it up. All of a sudden it's up at like $120.
Right.
You don't know me, I don't know you, or everyone else. It's like, I just made 20%. I could just cash out right now. And all of a sudden you bring
I don't see why you want it.
Back, right?
20% would be the number, I would feel comfortable about cashing that in.
Right, exactly. No one knows loyalty to anyone.
Right.
All of a sudden they see a quick score, and and their greed like defeats their own purpose of why they're there anyways.
Right.
So,
right.
anyways, just thought.
Yeah. It's
So,
kind of an interesting thing.
mhm.
But talking about how people trade, couldn't we figure out how Congress is so good at picking stocks?
Right, obviously. So there are so many cases out there where you look at and you see, obviously Nancy Pelosi was one of the biggest ones, even though she says, well, it's her
Gotta love
husband.
Nancy.
It's not like they don't have pillow talk or just talk at the dinner table or whatever.
Yeah, her and Paulie.
So today I voted yay on this defense budget, but
Right.
But you didn't hear from me.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's amazing how Paul Pelosi is such a good stock picker.
Right. He's way better than the market average, right?
Yeah. You know what? I'm surprised he didn't, try some kind of Bernie Madoff, stock picking or something like that.
So I did take a look at the 10 wealthiest people in Congress and who's trading the most, and so here's some data. So I actually asked Grok, how many millionaires were in Congress? More than half the members of the United States Congress are millionaires, with the median net exceeding $1 million, which obviously doesn't mean too much these days.
Right.
But the trend began in 2012 when, for the first time in history, a majority of Congress, 268 out of the 534 members, had a net worth of $1 million or more. So anyways, a lot of these guys have portfolios, they have investment advisors, but when you look at some of these folks who are doing a lot of trading,
Right.
you've got, so this is for 2024. Khanna, very, very visible Democrat, seems to be a pretty level-headed Democrat in the most case. I think he's going to run for president.
Oh, really?
Last year, he had 3,690 trades. So even how many trading days are there in the year? Maybe like a couple, like 200 or so?
Something, yeah, 212
240
or something.
whatever that may be. But even if it was like every day of the year, if the market was open every day of the year, you're at least 10 trades.
I'm surprised he has enough time to do anything in Congress.
Right, exactly. I mean, it's like...
Did you say 3,000 something?
3,690.
Yeah.
So,
Tell me, you know what? Tell me who has that much time on their hands.
Right, exactly. So, Lisa McLean of Michigan, Michael McCall of Texas. So Lisa McLean of Michigan had 821 trades. So it's like a quarter of what Khanna had.
Well, at least she's got a couple minutes.
Right. She's got a little time to work.
She got a little time, right? Yeah.
Let's see. So then Michael McCall had 815. Rob Bresnahan had 599 trades. He's from Pennsylvania.
Sure.
Jefferson Shreve of Tennessee had 556 trades. Josh Gottheimer of New Jersey had 500. Julie Johnson of Texas had 340. So it's,
I got a question for you. How many times do you trade a stock in a year? How many times do you go in and hit trade?
It's not that often. Like even if you look at like crypto trades or just shuffling stuff around or whatever, it's not that often. Especially if you're supposed to be in Congress and doing things. Obviously they do say some of them have investment advisors. But even your own investment advisors. It's like, how active really are they? It's like,
it's a great
they're
question.
not doing like 10, 12, 15 a day. It's
right.
So that's pretty active, and that's very suspicious. And so it's
suspicious.
Yeah,
it's kind of outrageous.
And there's this lady running for governor of New Jersey right now, and she was called out recently on a podcast, and they're like, well, how come you made $3 million since you've been in Congress or something? And
right.
And she just kind of fumbled around and said, well, I'll have to check my records. And
yeah. Oh, good. Get back to me on that. Can you email me?
Let me get back to you. Yeah. When the phone doesn't ring, it's me. So, and so out of curiosity also, let's see, if you're curious about who the wealthiest people are in Congress.
Yeah.
Rick Scott, senator from Florida.
Republican.
Wealthiest member of Congress with an estimated net worth, and this kills me. It's like the way they have to do the reporting stuff. It says net worth between 300 million and 550 million.
Wow.
So it's like, you have a $250 million spread.
Right. I'll take any of that if he wants to give that away.
Right.
You know what gets me about this Rick Scott guy, right? You know, and he got most of it from being with HCA, which was a healthcare company.
Columbia / HCA.
And there was so much like scams going on with that company when he resigned, and he still got $300 million. You know?
Really?
Yeah, and it blows me away.
Yeah, it says despite legal controversies surrounding Medicare fraud allegations.
Medicare fraud. So now he's screwing you one way and he's screwing you the other too. You know.
Yeah. I don't know. He seems to do a good job as a senator.
Yeah.
Well, I just
find it's a little underhanded, right? You know.
Yeah, it's very suspicious. So Vern Buchanan, another Republican from Florida.
Right.
But then Florida has become like the destination for like the wealthiest people in America, I think.
Sure. Yeah.
They're, it's a good place to live, obviously. So Representative Buchanan has a net worth of approximately $249 million, self-made millionaire. He amassed as well through ownership of nearly 20 car dealerships and investments in real estate and finance. He represents Florida's 18th district. So, but self-made guy, entrepreneur. So that's
right.
Those are the kind of guys I like to see in Congress.
Yeah.
So,
well, as long as they can, do it with government, right? Keep it clean, right? Like how do we make money with government?
And you have to
tax
wonder.
Or save.
Some of these guys, obviously, just like Trump, he doesn't need the grief of like dealing with public life and stuff, but he does. And I think certain people do get into it to give back. It's the people who come with nothing and leave, as multimillionaires, that you have to be suspicious of more so.
Right.
So
I get you. Definitely.
Darrell Issa, representative from California, net worth of $300 million.
I found this one really interesting, and I'll tell you why.
Why is that?
Because when I was in college,
you knew him?
Huh?
Was he in your pilot class?
No. When I was in college, I had to shack up with some guys while I finished school over the summer. So I stayed at their apartment. I slept on their couch, and every night in the middle of the night, I'd hear, "Meow, meow, meow. This car is protected by Viper," And I tell you what, I was and it was all night. It would be every hour on the hour, this thing would go off. Not during the day, of course. Never during the day, but.
And Darrell Issa was the founder of this, or what was?
This is his mainstay of how he made, or how their family made this money, right?
Okay.
It was.
I think I remember those commercials.
Yeah. Well, and the funny thing about it is, and I didn't do it, so hands off. One morning I got up, and I think the football team had flipped his car over. So it was on the top. I think they were all getting sick of listening to it too.
I hope it was a cheap car.
I don't remember what kind of car it was, but I think it's funny that I'm like, well, should have fixed that damn alarm.
So coming in at number 4 is Miss Pelosi, but I think this is a pretty conservative estimate. Obviously, I don't track this lady or anything, but I swear.
And by the way, did she have family money coming into this? I do not think she did.
I don't think she did. Yeah, so I think maybe she had a little bit, but not like what she is today.
Yeah.
So, but I swear I've heard bigger estimates than this. This has an estimated net worth of 248 to 256 million, largely attributed to her husband Paul Pelosi's strategic investments.
Yeah. Hey Nancy, how about a little for the effort, huh?
Yeah.
Huh? Give me a little for the effort.
Right. So
I'm having to put up with your ignorance. I mean, I didn't say that.
So number 5 is Mark Warner, Senator Mark Warner from Virginia, net worth of 215 to 250 million, a tech and telecom entrepreneur. Warner co-founded Columbia Capital, a venture capital firm that invested early in Nextel and numerous other IT
cybersecurity, which is still huge, people.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, especially some of that stuff around Virginia, like all these DARPA, when there was DARPANet, and that was the the foundation of the internet.
Right, right.
Started back in 1969, and then so then they're like tapping into, I think, like AT&T and these other companies. And as things got close to like 95, when the internet really took off, he's probably in the right place geographically to find all the right companies to work with the government and get the internet going.
Sure. And then you got Dave McCormick, Republican.
Dave McCormick. Is he the new guy?
Yeah,
I think
so.
Oh yeah, it says elected in 2025.
Yeah, 120 to 290 million dollars.
Yeah. See, that's just crazy how you can have such a spread. I mean,
yeah, but on all of these, coming from an entrepreneur mindset here, right?
Mm.
Yeah, that's a lot of money, right? And I get it. I mean, I would love to be able to grab that much money, but when I look at these things and I go, well, at least he did something. He was a CEO of whatever, right? Yeah, I probably got paid way too much money. I totally agree with
the world's largest hedge
fund, right?
Yeah.
But then when I look at things like, hey, you walked in with nothing and you came out, this guy, at least he was only elected in 2025. He already had 120 to 290 million.
Right. So that's true. Very true. So,
buying up farmland. Here you go. Hey, Bill Gates, right up your alley.
So it's interesting. One of the guys who's on the most active stock traders in Congress, came in at number 7, Michael McCall of Texas.
Now, am I right by saying that Michael McCall is also the guy who was going against, like, people trading stocks in?
I don't know. Actually,
and he's
one
of the biggest.
So he has a net worth of $200 million, largely derived from his marriage into the Mays family, which is the founding family of Clear Channel Communications, which is now iHeartMedia.
Yeah, I'm going to have to divorce my wife and marry rich.
Though not a self-made billionaire, McCall leverages his financial independence as chairman of the House Foreign Affairs Committee. So.
Right. Wasn't he also like Social Security or something in this guy?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I really don't know too much about him.
One of these guys.
He must be pretty active. Pete Ricketts. So like the Ricketts family, they're they're the co-owners of
Go Cubs,
of the Cubs. Yeah.
Yep.
So Senator Pete Ricketts, from Nebraska, not from Illinois.
Right.
He has net worth ranging between 79 million and 170 million. Oh, son of TD Ameritrade founder. That's the basis, which is now part of Schwab.
Yeah.
So,
isn't that? Yeah, that is Schwab. Yep.
Yeah. So it's like
Scott Trade, Schwab.
Yeah. So like evolved. I remember like back in the 90s. I think I was with one of the first companies that had online trading, which was really cool at the time. It was a company called Offhauser.
Oh,
and
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. So they, they used to like talk about being one of the oldest brokerages in America. But I remember at the time, and this was this was kind of like during the dot-com boom.
Right.
But everyone was still doing paper trades. They had the pits and everything for the trading. And so I could get up at like 4 in the morning and like check out the news and say, oh, this is pretty good news for this company. Place an electronic trade and be able to get in,
Right.
Then a couple hours later, a few hours later, let it run up and then I'd unload. And that was like great, but then Offhauser got bought out by Ameritrade, which eventually merged with TD Bank, I think. Then it became TD Ameritrade.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
And then just a few years ago, Schwab bought out, or they merged or whatever, but now it's all Schwab.
Right.
And I think they're based out of Dallas or something. They have
I think you're right.
Huge building down in Dallas that you see on the expressway.
I have, and
so
stadium and all that. That's when you made it, when you got a stadium.
So they're back to one of the oldest brokerages in America, right? And Schwab's been around forever.
Biggest grifts.
So, so I'm curious though. The guy's dad, did he found TD Bank? Did he found Ameritrade? Or
that's a good question.
I mean, so maybe his dad was with one of them, and then they.
I know. The funny thing about like the Cubs and all that. They were talking to that. This is off subject, but all those buildings around the back of the Cubs stadium,
Yeah.
they're buying up and buying up and buying up, and there's one guy that's holding out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and
It's like one of these things where you can sit on the roof and watch
yeah,
the game,
right,
right?
watch the game,
Uh-huh.
right?
Uh-huh.
And I think it's kind of comical because it's like they've offered everything, and now they're making it like they're blocking that rooftop, that one rooftop. And as if you're looking at home plate out,
Yeah.
it's the last one to the left. And it's like I go to a meeting there every year, and I think it's funny because you can't barely see any of the field, but nobody really cares. Because they're all there socializing or talking
Drinking
business
and-
or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, I guarantee the Ricketts are all squirming, like, and I know they've sent him like cease and desists and all sorts of stuff to get this guy to like
That's interesting.
fold up, right?
At some point, I mean, they may have the ability to do something. I mean, if they like make it really uncomfortable, then all of a sudden you're devaluing the property, right?
Oh, I think they've already.
It's probably surrounded by the restaurants.
And they
or
offered
something.
him a good amount of money.
Yeah.
It's funny. Another guy that I know used to live in that building.
Okay.
And told me about the owner and all that stuff. And one night I think he had to drive the owner home drunk, and it's
wow.
yeah, it's just kind of a crazy web we weave.
So this
found him
guy's
at McDonald's or something. The guy was completely hammered.
this guy's got to figure out a good strategic time to leave because what do they say? Pigs get fed, hogs get slaughtered, right?
Yeah, right.
And so, if your opposition, owns everything around you, they can figure out creative ways to make your property worth less.
They are. I mean, and they're completely blocking it until he sells it. But yeah.
So then there's Dan Goldman of New York. You see this guy on TV a lot.
Goldman Sachs.
He's an heir to Levi Strauss. He's a Democrat.
Yeah, what's funny? I just asked my wife the other day if Levi's was on their way back. Like Levi's used to be the jean to wear, and she goes, "Yeah, I think they're starting to make headway again."
Oh, they are.
Yeah. So he might make He might make another 150 million, 180 million.
So. Yeah, he has an estimated net worth of 150 to 180 million. Some suggesting up to 253 million.
Wow.
So once again, it's a huge range, but a lot of times it's kind of hard to count the assets because there's not, especially if you have private equity, even real estate. It's like, well, it's like, I mean, unless you pay an appraiser to go out, I mean, like if you have private equity into a company, there are no like real reports that come out on these things. It's not like they have SEC reporting requirements, and so not
like they're going to grab their taxes either.
Right.
Unless they're underhanded and the IRS sends them out.
Right.
Yeah.
So here's something interesting. So that actually, the last one on the list here.
Yeah.
Susan Benet.
I don't even know who that is.
She's from
Microsoft executive. Imagine that.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's interesting because I think this kind of feeds into like what I want to talk about next, and that's she has a net worth of 70 million to 126 million. Probably a lot of stock options that she was given as an employee.
Hey Bill, can you give me some money?
Right, exactly. And so talking about that, one interesting stat that I found, and I'm sure this includes a lot of 401ks and everything, but there was a stat I heard last week, and I had to look it up, and I got confirmation of it. It says the top 10% of Americans own a significant majority of the stock market, with data indicating they held 87% of the stocks as of the second quarter of 2025. So 10% own 87% of the stock market. That's like an insane amount. I know that obviously, when you create a company, it goes public, and you create this generational wealth because you could own 500 million shares and sell the rest out for the IPO or whatever. And some of these, especially like if people like in Silicon Valley, they sign on for jobs and they're given stock options as these incentives and everything, and so they're given boatloads of stocks and becomes very I can see how that kind of happens because they probably automatically I mean, a lot of these folks get really hefty salaries in Silicon Valley, and not just there, tech companies in general, but I can see that kind of accumulation. But 87%. You think about all the people. I mean, all the people out there who have their 401ks and everything, and 87% are just the top 10. Obviously the CEOs.
Well, and you think about it. Wow. And you know what? Didn't I see a stat in here but back in 2000 and something, it was like a higher percentage?
I don't think for that. There were different percentages that kind of varied and stuff. But
yeah.
But here's another thing that says this concentration of wealth is part of a broader trend where the wealthiest Americans have increasingly captured gains from the stock market growth, despite a record 58% of U.S. households owning stocks in 2023. The distribution remains highly unequal, with the bottom 50% of Americans only holding 1% of stocks. But this is this kind of makes sense in certain ways, because when people, if you're the guy who's working at the grocery store making minimum wage, everything that comes in is going back out.
Right.
But you start making a good salary, and different people have different lifestyles, but at a certain point you're making more money than you can spend, and then you invest it all.
Right.
And so, so it's kind of logical how that happens. But the unfortunate part is that really shuts out a lot of the people. But this is America, and there should be an incentive for other folks to understand how this works and to be able to invest in it.
Agreed. This goes back to an episode we had previously about talking about when do we teach these kids traits like this, like savings and acquiring wealth by just really a paycheck. And I know plenty of people who have become millionaires by just putting away a percentage of their paycheck and allowing the stock market to grow it, or whatever investment, if they buy property or they invest well, and allowing it to grow. But this is one of those things that I think we should be teaching our kids.
Right, and it's obviously in most cases you're investing in America, number one, your home country, and the one of my kids, 19 years old, he's actually he made money over the summer. He's like, I want to create a brokerage account. I'm like, kudos to you.
Yeah, right.
He's like, what should I buy? I said, well, buy some index funds, because those are kind of easy, and they kind of hedge against a lot of risk. But there are a lot of people, and this depends. There is the problem, I think, with a lot of Americans that we have, is that there's so much focus on materialism and stuff, and people want to have the bling, and they want to have the name brand stuff. But I tell my kid, having money is not just to flash, or to flex, as the kids say these days, but it's security.
Right.
And being able to sleep at night is a lot better than wearing some overpriced
and I think we've all been at that spot where you haven't had anything. I mean, after you graduate from college and you're trying to work your way up, and it's and you're making, I think my first job I was making $18,000 or something, and it was selling cell phones, right? But it was what do I do with that money? And that was 2020, or I'm sorry, not 2000. That was 1993, right? But then I got a better job, making $24,500. But how do you make that money?
Manager?
As a restaurant manager, yep. And for one of the big chains, I won't say any names, Applebee's. And then, but that job taught me a lot. But also, the other thing is, it was like having steady income, and I even started putting money away back then. But that is not the norm. Obviously, by the numbers, it's not the norm today.
Right, and it's interesting, because right now it seems like we have these bubbles right now. I think we have a debt bubble, we have a housing bubble, we have a stock market bubble, probably too, where everything's it's just exceeding all the averages.
Right.
And you have to wonder, because after the dot-com boom became the dot-com bust,
yeah.
that's I think both of us were having kids at that time, and it sucked. You start these like education IRAs,
Yep.
and you keep putting money into it, and it keeps getting lower.
Right.
You know, it's just like it took like 8 years or so before you started making progress again after that. And
Yep.
a lot of these kids may be in for that reality, unfortunately.
Well, yeah, the funny thing is, like, my kid said to me the other day, he's like, times are much harder now. And I go, well, you know, it depends. I mean, because it's all kind of relative, right? I mean, times when we were kids.
You didn't tell them about walking to school in the snow uphill?
Both ways.
Yeah.
Also with Wonder Bread basket or Wonder Bread bags on my feet
Right.
because my shoes leaked. Well, maybe.
Tell them to try living on ramen noodles and 69-cent white bread for
Yeah.
While you're a
Right,
student.
and hot dogs, right.
This
Well, I,
no
you know what,
sushi
I was a
bars
little higher
and-
than you were, so I actually had spaghetti once in a while.
Okay, there you
Yeah,
go.
You know, Prego.
When you got
or-
it on sale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
I did find in college, like, the worst thing to do is go to the grocery when you're hungry
Mm-hmm.
because you buy everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So here's something. So
Yeah.
you know, you talk about like, you know, the top 10%, you know, they own 87% of the stock market. And so this is kind of the disparity, but this also kind of shows how valuable they are to the economy too. Because the top 10% of earners accounted for 49% of consumer spending in the second quarter of 2025. So top 10%. So they're still spending the money. It's not like they're sitting on it.
Right.
They're out there buying, you know, whatever luxury items, probably.
Sure.
Boats.
Microwaves.
Yeah. Really.
Wait, you say boats, I say microwaves.
Gold-plated microwaves.
Yeah, refrigerators. You know.
Right. So it's, you know, I mean, that still is, you know, that's a significant amount of consumer spending.
Yeah, right.
So-
In that little group, right?
Right. Exactly.
Right.
So. But we'll see. You know, some of that, this report actually
Yeah, that's
said
crazy.
some of the spending by the wealthy is fueled by stock market holdings and earnings recently, which makes a lot of sense because if this market keeps going up, and I hear people talking about it, it's just going to keep on going. I mean, Trump is doing good stuff, you know, working on the infrastructure, but there's so many negative things out there that are out of whack that you have to wonder which way things are going. But if things go down, you're going to see that consumer spending go down, and you're going to see, you know, I mean, where people may be buying second homes and things like
Sure.
that because they're like, oh, I just made so much money in the stock market, I'm going to sell some and get that one home in this.
Yeah,
state
I'm
that I
always
like.
looking for those Warren Buffett, like, you know, the stock market takes a dive, like he said, like, then everything's on sale.
Right,
You know?
right.
And it's like, I'm always looking for that moment. And I've found it a couple
Yeah.
times. It's just, they're difficult to find, you know?
There's a centuries-old Rothschild quote that said, "When there's blood on the streets, it's time to buy." It's from like the 1700s. You know? It's like, and you know, as callous as that sounds, that's kind of the way things are. You know, it's.
Sure.
I mean, you look at like Joe Kennedy. You know, old man Joe Kennedy. He had a lot of money. And the Depression came around, and he bought like the Chicago Mercantile Exchange for cheap.
Right.
Massive building,
Right.
you know. So,
I just saw news on that the other day. I wish I could remember what I was watching. Like it might be back up for sale or.
oh, that's yeah. I think it's been sold a number of times. I think there was a Kennedy managing it for a while. Like he was
I
in
think you're
charge.
right.
He was the property
Yeah, I
manager.
think you're right.
Because I think maybe like 15, 20 years ago it
I've been
sold.
through there quite a few times, you know.
Yeah, it's a fun place to
It's a
buy.
nice-
you know,
nice
if you,
building, yeah.
If you have a business and you want to buy merchandise, you know, wholesale, it's a fun place to go.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So you never know where these markets go, and you know, I just sold Tesla recently.
Yeah, I was thinking about
And,
actually buying Tesla back a while back, but now it's gone up so much.
And I think just because, you know, I mean, Musk has these, I mean, he's got so many cool businesses and so many, you know, he's got robots, he's got Neuralink, he's got Tesla, he's got Solar City, he's got SpaceX, and so, anyways, but I saw it going up, and I was kind of, you know, concerned that maybe there's going to be a dip coming, even though there's still so many great things going on, especially with Grok too.
Right.
That I sold it thinking, well, maybe if it dips, then I'll get back in because, you know, I bought it I bought it in March or April, whenever everyone was hating on Musk and like it drove it down. I bought it cheap. I mean, relatively cheap.
Right.
I mean, like 49% in like a few months.
Right.
And so the anyways, that's kind of that whole thing. Like pigs get fed, hogs get slaughtered.
Well, the other thing is, like,
So-
I put in for Oracle, because I saw Oracle was getting all these accounts.
Right.
So it was kind of like all these this action from the government and from AI stuff, and I thought, well, maybe there's a good investment. Then I talked to another investment advisor that I have, and he was like, oh, it's overvalidated or whatever.
Overvalued.
Overvalued, yeah. And I'm like, well, I still held on to it. And then there was like MP Metal, which was like, or materials company, which is, and by the way, none of these are like, I'm telling you to go buy this.
There's no advice given
Yeah,
here.
no advice given. But
These are amateurs talking.
Yeah, and I am a complete amateur. But I did buy NVIDIA like 2 years ago, and I have made really good money on NVIDIA.
Yeah, people talk about it like the way they talk about cryptos. It's just astronomical, right?
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing, yeah.
So are those like the stuff that you're liking on? Are you looking at any other stuff?
Yeah, nothing like right now, like on my watch list, out of curiosity. I just added one. Well, I just added one the other day that I got somewhere. Oh, AMD has been on a run, man.
Yeah, because they made a deal with Oracle on ChatGPT, I think.
Yeah, look at that. So it's like, yeah, that's been.
So they're obviously in competition with NVIDIA.
Yeah.
Is it? How did you pronounce it?
Which one?
NVIDIA or?
NVIDIA.
NVIDIA. That's
Yeah.
what you said. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
We should call their customer service number to see how they answer it. I'm not sure what the proper is.
I'm sure, right? Yeah, I'm not sure you'll get through to their customer service, but
phonetically, I'm not used to a V following an N like that.
Right, yeah.
So,
well, like we said, none of this advice is advice we say for you to run out and buy.
If you listen to us, you would be an idiot.
You would be an idiot, right. Don't listen to two idiots just talking about crap. So, but we appreciate you tuning in. Please like and subscribe, and listen to the other podcasts. If there's something you want to hear on the air, or you got any ideas, give us your comments. We appreciate it.
Take care and have a great day.
Thanks. Bye-bye.